Welcome to the audiobook of New Social Studies, Grade 10. Unit 8, Lesson 10, Consumers' Right, page number 344. Introduction. An individual or institution consuming or using any consumer goods or services is called consumer. It includes the producer of other goods and services, supplier and sellers as well, since they are also consumers of other goods and services. Consumer International, CI, the World Confederation of Consumer Groups, has covered all of us as consumer. Consumers' right mean the right and protection of the consumers that are related with the goods and services to be used by them. According to the Consumer Protection Act 2054, consumer means an individual or institution consuming or using any goods or service. Here, consumer goods mean the goods or materials made through the admixture of several goods which are consumed or used by consumers, and this term also includes raw materials, colors, flavors, or chemicals used in the production of such consumer goods. Likewise, service means any labor, facility, or consultancy provided for any work on payment of any kind of service charge or other consideration. Efforts made for the protection of consumers' rights and interests. The USA enforced a law related to the interest of the consumer on 15th March 1963 AD for the first time. Thus, International Consumers' Day is observed on 15th March every year. According to it, every consumer has the right to get quality goods and service and has the right to obtain compensation against any damage caused by the substandard goods and services in accordance with law. United Nations guidelines for consumer protection adopted by the UN General Assembly on 16 April 1985 and expanded in 1999 provided the guidelines in this regard. Consumers International, CI, the World Confederation of Consumers Group, as per the UNGCP, states the following rights as consumers' right. Number 1, the right to satisfaction of basic needs. To have access to basic, essential goods and service, adequate food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, education, public utilities, water and sanitation. Number 2, the right to safety. To be protected against products, production processes and services that are hazardous to health or life. 3, the right to be informed. To be given the facts needed to make an informed choice and to be protected against dishonest and or misleading advertising and labeling. Number 4, the right to choose. To be able to select from a range of products and services offered at competitive prices with an assurance of satisfactory quality. Number 5, the right to be heard. To have consumers' interests represented in the making and execution of government policy and in the development of products and services. Number 6, the right to redress. To receive a fair settlement of just claims, including compensation for misrepresentation, shoddy goods, SHODDY, or unsatisfactory services. 7, the right to consumer education. To acquire knowledge and skills needed to make informed, confident choices about goods and services while being aware of basic consumer rights and responsibilities and how to act on them. Number 8, the right to a healthy environment. To live and work in an environment that is non-threatening to the well-being of present and future generations. Now the next point, the Constitution of Nepal has enshrined, ENSHRINED, consumers' right in Article 44 under Fundamental Rights in Part 3. According to it, every consumer shall have the right to obtain quality goods and services. A person who has suffered injury from any substandard goods or service shall have the right to obtain compensation in accordance with law. According to Consumers Protection Act 2054, enforced on 1st Baisakh 2055 Bikram Sambat for the purpose of protecting the rights and interests of consumers, every consumer shall have the following rights. A. Right to be protected from the sale and supply of consumer goods and services which may harm life, body, health, and property. B. Right to be informed about the prices, attributes, quantity, purity, quality, etc. of consumer goods and services so as to be safe from unfair trade practices. C. Right to be assured of an opportunity to choose consumer goods and services at competitive prices as far as possible. D. Right to be assured that an appropriate agency will hear matters concerning the protection of the rights and interests of consumers. E. Right to be heard and compensated against exploitation and grievances, hardships resulting from unfair trade practices. F. Right to consumer education. According to the Consumers Protection Act 2054, a producer shall compulsorily mention the following particulars on the labels of consumer goods. A. Name and address of the producer and registration number of the industry. B. In case of consumer goods such as food and medicines, their ingredients as well as their quantity and weight. C. Quality of consumer goods whose quality has been determined, if any. D. Method of consuming consumers' goods and possible impacts of such consumption. E. Price, batch number, production date, and expiry date of the consumer goods. F. In case of consumer goods such as electronic goods, hardware, and machinery, guarantee thereof, date of guarantee, and other necessary matters. G. In case of consumer goods which are inflammable, dangerous, or fragile, precautions for their safety. Consumer education. It is the education to be obtained by the consumers for being clear about their rights, duties, and identify the standard of consumer goods and services in the market. Consumer education and awareness is necessary to know about the consumer's right. They have the right to complain against any fraud or substandard goods and services and obtain compensation against any damage caused by it. Consumers can complain directly and through consumers' organizations to the concerned authority. Such complaints can be made to the Department of Commerce, District Administration Office, Police Station, or Department or Ministry. Inspection officers have been provided for the protection of consumers' interests. Similarly, the Consumers Protection Act has also made the provision of consumer education. It has made the provision of curriculum to be prepared for protecting the rights and interests of consumers. According to this provision, the materials related to consumer education have been kept in the school level. Benefits from the consumer's education. A. It makes consumers conscious about their rights and duties. B. It offers the consumers an opportunity of proper choice of goods and services. C. It makes the consumers aware while purchasing goods and services. D. It provides the consumers with all information regarding the market which helps to purchase consumer goods. E. It enables the consumers to know quality of consumer goods. F. It encourages the consumers to complain against the substandard goods and services and get compensation of the loss caused by the use of such goods and services. G. It informs the consumers about the rules and regulations enforced by the government in this regard. H. It helps consumers obtain maximum satisfaction from the expenses they made. I. It helps to control black marketing. J. It helps to protect and promote the consumer's rights. K. It gives the feedbacks for the businesses. L. It increases the consumer-producer interaction which results in the availability of quality goods and services in the market. Activities, page number 347. 1. What legal remedy is there if the right of consumers is violated? Discuss with the subject teacher and find the conclusion. 2. Conduct an interaction program by inviting some persons concerned with politics, consumers' rights, and women's rights. 3. Compose a poem or song to create awareness and promote consumers' rights. Exercise. Very short answer questions. 1. Who are consumers? 2. What do you mean by consumers' right? Short answer questions. 1. Make a list of the rights under the consumer's right. 2. Are the efforts made to protect the consumer's right enough? Mention. 3. Mention the activities of an organization which is formed for the protection of consumers' right in a form of news. 4. Mention the usefulness of the consumer education in school level in Nepal. 5. How does black marketing hinder the consumer's right? Discuss in class and find the conclusion. 6. What suggestions would you give to a guardian going to buy goods in market? Mention in 4 points. Long answer questions. 1. Prepare an editorial shedding light on the efforts made for the protection of consumers' right in Nepal. 2. Explain the benefits that one gets from consumer education. Community work. Consult with the one who is working for the protection of consumers' right and collect required information. Then prepare a report on the basis of your consultation. This is the end of Unit 8, Lesson 10 at page number 347. This is also the end of Unit 8 as a whole. This podcast is dedicated to visually impaired students. So if you know anybody who needs this book to listen and learn, please share the link and also please subscribe the channel. Thank you and all the best.